And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that we would not have single-tier public Medicare in Ontario and in Canada were it not for the unions. There's been a lot of trading on the politics of hate lately in Ontario. The Liberal government thought that they would bash the unions, and riding on that wave they would win the by-election in Kitchener-Waterloo. But you sure showed them. And yet, the truth is that it's not just public Medicare that the unions have saved in this province. We have you to thank for minimum wages. We have you to thank for killing child labor in this province. We have you to thank for pensions, for the 40-hour work week, for extended health care benefits, for the weekend. And unions did not create the deficit in Ontario. The recession and endless tax cuts for the wealthy and for corporations did that. Healthcare did not create the deficit in Ontario. Education did not create the deficit in Ontario. And yet across Europe and across Ontario, working people are paying a very dear price for the excesses and the greed of the financial industry, who actually are to fault for the recession of 2008 and the after effects that we're paying now. In Ontario, the last provincial budget contained no less than $10 billion worth of cuts to public services, according to economist Hugh McKenzie. $10 billion. And so the strategy is this: 15 years of tax cuts for corporations, 15 years of tax cuts for the wealthy. Never mind if they're holding on to the money and not investing in this province. And then, in order to pay the cost for those cuts, cut healthcare, cut education, cut social assistance, put on hold Ontario Disability Support Programs payments, delay the increases in the child tax benefit and the reduction in child poverty in Ontario. Regular people, working people, the poor, the elderly, the needy, we're all paying now for the transfer of money back up to the wealthy and to corporations. For shame. Concessions that were made in the last provincial budget were minuscule. A temporary, tiny tax on people who earn $500,000 a year or more. What about people who earn $250,000 a year or more? How about delaying those tax cuts for corporations permanently, not just temporarily? There is a lot more that could be done in order to address the deficit in Ontario. Attacking the working class, attacking the middle class, attacking public services should be the last thing, not the first thing on the list. I'm going to end with a message of hope, because across Europe, governments are looking beyond austerity now, beyond the cuts. They're seeing how much they're hurting millions of regular people across, from country to country. From France to the United States, they're looking at revamping their tax systems to help pay down their deficits. Ontario is far behind the rest of the world in this. And so to Ontario's teachers, I want to say this to you. We all owe you a huge thank you. Thank you for standing up for the charter rights